broadcasting from a very sunny Cardiff. It's 6 o'clock in the evening, or 6:17, and I am playing some out of the park baseball. One of my favourite baseball sims. I play Action PC a lot this last 12 months, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's Saturday afternoon. I've already done my stuff for the day. And before I go back out, I just want to do a quick look at 1929 exhibition game between Boston and Philadelphia. Now, I forgot which Boston I've actually chosen, but looking at it, what I wanted to do was just look at the Philadelphia Phillies of 1929. And in particular, I was looking to see if I could see Lefty and Chuck Klein and Cy Williams. Now, Cy Williams is a very old 41, but before I do that, what I've learned to do is, I've created it, return to the OOTP main screen, which is fine, load a previously saved game, and there it is. Now this way, as I watched our Red Sox fan do this, press no, and instead of it just being an exhibition, which it still will be, it gives me more options, so I'm able to then look at the uniforms, make sure they're correct. So if I just look at the Red Sox uniforms for 1929, I can see these are the uniform, but they don't have the high socks. So I put the high socks in for both teams. I didn't know they played in white, so that's something I've learned. I'm learning every day about baseball history. I'm a Brit, so I'm learning all the time. I'm not completely ignorant, of course, so I do have some knowledge from many years of watching baseball and reading many books and so on and so forth. The only thing I would now change is those colours on the jersey and the number. If I go to jersey, I don't know if I can change it or not, but I think I can. I'll leave that there, this wonderful uniform maker. And I'm wondering if I change one of these colours. It already changed the helmet, I know that. I think one of these changes the helmet if I was on ball cap. But if I go on stripes or secondary, I've got a feeling it will change the number. No, it doesn't, because that's red. So maybe not. So I'll leave it as it is. I'm quite happy with the numbers, or take the numbers off. So I'll just take the numbers off for this. I hope there is a fix for that somewhere, or just another way of learning how to do that. I'm more than happy to do that. But I've really wanted to see Lefty that looks completely different. Oh, that's their away kit. Update this team's pictures now. So let's double check the Red Sox. Away, home. Okay, I can live with that. Take the name off. Go back to the Philadelphia Phillies. I can take the number off. Take the name off. Away. Okay, so now we're ready. So like I said, I really wanted to find out a bit more about Chuck Klein, Cy Seymour, Lefty O'Doul in particular, who I've used in the Howie Shanks Bingo League, run by, streaming on 3 channels at the moment. I'll just pause that for today, and let's see what happens this evening. So I just thought I'd quickly run this before I carry on my Saturday. So here we go, and Manchester United are not playing, so all is well. But if I go here, let's look at the teams. There's 2 teams. Boston Red Sox, let's have a quick look at them. See if I can learn anything. Meet the team. Ken Williams I've heard about. Now I've heard about Ken Williams from playing the Howie Shanks Bingo League. Ken Williams is a great player. Here he's age 39 though. And he is still a star. He's not bad at all. So I never knew about Ken Williams. That's something I've learned. Red Ruffing I do know about, because in real life he played for the Yankees. That much I'm sure. Here we are. After the 1930 season, he goes and joins the New York Yankees. I did not know that. So one of the things I love about these games, it's so deep, so the encyclopedias are deep and vast, and I absolutely love it. I'm a big cricket fan, a big soccer fan, in fact, all sports. As Beatles would call it, F-ball, but I'm a big fan of all. I've also resumed streaming because I used to stream about 4 or 5 years ago. And for Cricket 23, there's a new game coming by Cricket. a variety of cricket games. First one was called Don Bradman, but Don Bradman is a more sober version of Babe Ruth, an outlier, and just an amazing statistical anomaly in the game of cricket. He's just way above everyone else, and has been and will never be surpassed. It's just an absolute anomaly and an Australian hero. But back to baseball. Is there anyone else I know about? No, so I'm going to learn something today. So we go now to the Philadelphia Phillies. Now here they are, the three of them straight away. Chuck Klein, Lefty O'Doul, and Cy Williams. That looks great. I think they were still managed by Connie Mack. It won't say it here because I don't think it carries the names over. But let's have a look. Front office, will it be there? Yep. Here's the owner, fictional info. Where would I find the information on the manager? I've played this game for 20 years. I should know this. But it's been such a while. Team home screen. Meet the team. Done that already. But anyway, we're set. We're good. So this first game is going to be at Philadelphia. Now, did they play at the Baker Bowl? I'm not sure. Yep, the Baker Bowl. Start time is 1:35. 18,000, nearly 19,000 fans packed into the Baker Bowl today. The wind is blowing out to right at 11 miles per hour. And here we go. I'm going to learn something today. I'm sure about this. Am I going to manage? Yes. I'll do the offensive strategy. I'll do the base running. I'm not confident with the defensive strategy. I'll definitely do the substitutions. Not so much on the pitching. Actually, I'll let the computer do that, and I'm good to go. So here we go. Boston Red Sox, 1929, at the Philadelphia Phillies. Start game. This is using Silverham's wonderful uniform thing, and there they are. That looks awesome. Wow. That looks absolutely awesome. I feel like I'm transported right back to 1929. Not that I was alive. Far from it. In fact, I wonder what my ancestors were doing in 1929. That would be interesting. They definitely were not watching baseball, having come from another country. So here we go. Let us start this baby now. So this is for me to learn a bit more about Lefty O'Doul and Chuck Klein. I mean, they look amazing. So let's have a look at out in the outfield. Look at those kids. I just can't get over it. Spud Davis is the catcher. At first base is 24-year-old Don Hurst. At second base is Fresco Thompson. At shortstop, I thought it said Swede there. Swede would have retired by then. In fact, he was long blackballed. That's Bernie Freiberg at shortstop. At third base is Pinky Whitney. Out in left field, there's my man, Lefty O'Doul, a man that plays in my team, the Manchester Red Bolts, in the Ned McGreevy League. Here's a very old Cy Williams. I don't know much about Cy other than he was a great player. And in right field, Chuck Klein. I think this is his rookie season. Nope. His second season in Philly. Lefty O'Doul, from what I understand, had left the majors and played in the PCL and then came back. So welcome anyone who does join this stream. It's a trip back in memory lane in my baseball TARDIS back to 1929. And we are looking at the Philadelphia A's of 1929 up against the Boston Red Sox, who I do not recognize any name except Red Ruffing. So here we go. Love this pan around the stadium, the Baker Bowl in 1929. And the first pitch comes in and hit to right field by Barrett, and he gets a second. So let me just reset the camera, because I like that opening view, which is a wide camera. Every stadium has a different view. And the pitch view, I'm quite happy with. Okay, let's go. So Matt, runner on second base. Hey, Big Clue, how you doing? After the nuclear stuff last night. All a bit of fun. I'm sure we'll resolve all of that. Here we go. So what I've done, Big Clue, is go back to 1929 and have a play around with... so I don't want to lose my master file on my Action PC because I've got everything at the moment, although I've sent the BBX off to Steve and Beatles to take over this weekend. Or pause, either way. But thank you for your support, Clue. Always a great support. Much appreciated. So here we go. Here is Russ Scarrett up to bat. All these names are unfamiliar. On the mound is Collins. And it's Phil Collins, not the drummer, from that famous 1970s band Genesis. Here we go. Barrett at second. I've even lost track of what I'm managing at the moment. Here's the pitch. Struck him out. So Collins gets his first strikeout of the day. And that now brings up Jack Rothrock, guy I do not know. So Clue, if you know anything about these guys, let me know. I will do my research. So Jack Rothrock in 1929 hit 6 home runs, batted .300, and had 59 RBIs. Collins goes into his windup, and that's hit to left field. And O'Doul hustles towards it and makes the catch. So let's take off the dynamic. There we go. I think the dynamic works better with the default stadiums. So runner at second. Collins on the mound, two out. Top of the first inning. Into his windup, Collins goes. That's hit down to first base. And picked up by Hurst. And that's the end of the inning. That retires the side. The Red Sox get nothing and Strand 1. And we go to the bottom of the first inning for the Philadelphia 1929 Phillies. I did not know until fairly recently that the Philadelphia Phillies were very much the poor man's team of Philadelphia. It was the A's. I knew the A's were strong. But I've got a feeling that Connie Mack was managing the Philadelphia Phillies at this point. The great Connie Mack. Here we go. So on the mound is a very young Red Ruffing. Is Red Ruffing in the Hall of Fame? I know he's a New York Yankee. Excellent. So Red Ruffing on the mound. At bat is going to be Fresco Thompson, a name I do know again. So we're going to swing away with Fresco. Let's have a look at the defense. Behind the plate, Charlie Berry. At first base, Phil Todd. At second base, Bill Regan. At shortstop, Hal Ryan. At third, Bobby Reeves. In left field, Russ Garrett. At center field, Jack Rothrock. And in right field, Bill Barrett. So we're going to swing away here. Fresco Thompson at the plate. Ruffin will go into his windup. And that's hit to first and put away quite easily by Todd, who flips it over to first. 1 away. It's a little change to my layout here. I'm not seeing my scoreboard the way I want it to. So I go to options. Not sure why I'm not seeing my scoreboard the way I want it to. And that's what I like about Out of the Park. You can change everything. But I'm not seeing something I want to see. So I'll just scroll down. I will do that later. I'm going to go back to computer AI. No, I'm not. I quite like what I'm doing. Go back to the game action here. So Baker Bowl, 1929. Red Ruffing on the mound. Here comes Don Hurst. 1 away. Ruffing goes into his windup. And ball 4. Don Hurst will trot down to first. Looks very tall, doesn't he? Down to first. So Red Ruffing got a runner on. Now is the perfect time, I believe, for a hit and run. So here's Lefty O'Doul, but then Lefty O'Doul's got that power. Lefty O'Doul is my man in the Bingo, Howie Shanks Bingo League. He's already off to a fast start. I'm not going to hit and run. I'm going to swing away. So Ruffing goes into his windup, and Lefty hits it to center field, and Rothrock has it, and that's 2 away. That brings up the equally dangerous Chuck Klein, batting from the left-hand side. Now I want to see this when they're pitching. Anyway. Ruffing looks at the ball. Klein steps in. He's ready. Berry sets the sign. Ruffin goes into his windup, and Chuck Klein hits that to center field. Rothrock comes over and has it. Look at that sign on the right side, Lifeboy. How well rendered is that? That looks absolutely amazing. Welcome anyone coming into the chat to join my man Big Clue. So we're in 1929. I wanted to see Chuck Klein and Lefty O'Doul and Cy Williams. So here we are, top of the second inning. Phil Collins on the mound. Regan steps in. Davis sets a sign. Collins into his windup. Struck him out. That's 2 strikeouts now for Phil Collins. That brings up Charlie Berry, a 242 hitter. Good speed. Not much power. 1 out. Top of the second. Nothing. Berry into his motion. And that's hit to short. And a slow turn by Freiberg, but he gets it over to first. And that's 2 away. Actually, that's not he's safe. I thought he moved a bit slowly. And you can quickly do a replay. Just getting used to this. I've been on action so much recently. Let's not do the replay. Leave it as it is. Here we go. So here's Collins now. Up against Bobby Reeves, the third baseman. Bobby Reeves hit 248 in 1929. These are 29 Red Sox. I do not recognize anyone apart from Red Ruffing. There's the pitch hit to right field. And nicely tucked away by Chuck Klein. So Chuck Klein in right. Cy Williams, a very old Cy Williams in center field. Here we go. Collins now trying to get the third out, top of the second inning. Here's Hal Ryan, the shortstop, batting 251. And he sends a left field, and my man Lefty O'Doul is out there. So that's 1 error by Philadelphia there. But Red Sox failed to take advantage. Still no score. Hey, Big Clue. Yeah, he is the father of Japanese baseball. That's what I was reading. Yeah, and we wouldn't have Ichiro. We wouldn't have the guy from San Francisco Giants in the 60s. We definitely would have had my man, Hideo Nomo, Hideki Arabu, bless his soul. So many great Matsuzaki. I mean, there's so many great Japanese players. And just for that, the impact. Because the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, should be about impact. Right? So, I've got some controversial picks, Big Clue, as you probably know, about with the Hall of Fame. You know, I'm a guy that believes impact means so much. Now, there's a player statistically that may not quite get this. Loads of players, we know this, that should be in the Hall of Fame that aren't, or some that got in really late, like Ron Santo, one of the best third basemen of all time, should not have been left that long. But by the nature of voting, we get it. Sometimes you can just be really unlucky. I think Dick Allen, is he in the Hall of Fame? He should have been in there. But if I think about some people who should be in there from impact, you're going to laugh at this one, right? You're going to really laugh at this one. But I believe someone like Dwight Gooden should be there. But I think Dwight Gooden has such an impact and still does to this day. Not from a cautionary tale point of view, just from the point of view that rookie season was so sensational, as was his second season. And even his winning percentage is up there with the best. Here we go. So we go to the bottom of the second inning. Red Ruffing, the young Red Ruffing, on the mound. And stepping in is Spud Davis, the catcher. I'll tell you a story about Spud Davis in a minute. Ruffing, I love the action there from Red. Strikes him out. So this is a World Series. I've done an exhibition, but what I did was saved it and reloaded it as a league. But still play the 7. What you can do is alter the uniforms, but you can't do an exhibition. So bring out to plate the veteran Cy Williams, batted .292, 5 home runs, 21 RBI. It got a great eye, great Cy Williams. Something I'm going to have to read up about. Ruffing goes into his motion, and Cy Williams hits this to right field, up against and over the Lifeboy sign, and home run for Philadelphia Phillies, 1929. So Cy Williams has given me some research to do. He's took Red Ruffing out to right field and out of here. Home run. So here we go. That brings up Pinky Whitney at third baseman, batting .327. Good hitter. Good contact hitter. Ruffin looks in. Berry sets the sign. Ruffin goes into his motion. And he walks him. So Ruffin has walked 2 there on a 3-1 count. So man on first, 1 out. The Phillies lead 1-0. Now, do I hit and run? I don't know how to use hit and run, but I know it's a 1 out man on first thing. Let's see what happens. Oh, they try to pick him off. That was so cool. The animations are so good on here. Easily deserving Big Clue, that's what I think. And I'm a novice. I'm a novice. I need to understand what's going on there as well with him. Why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? So here we go. Here's Bernie Freiberg at the plate. Ruffin has got 1 strikeout. Should we try it again? Hit and run. The count is... Nope. Ruffin pitches down to third. A nice pickup by Reeves. He puts it over to first, but the runner goes to second. So 2 men out. Whitney at second base. Pinky Whitney, a 24-year-old. And here comes Phil Collins, the pitcher. Ruffin goes into his motion, and Collins hits this to center field, and a great diving play by Joe Rothrock. Takes the inning, closes the inning. Phillies, however, have gone ahead 1-0 on 1 run for 1 hit and no errors. So go to the top of the 3rd inning. That brings up Red Ruffin. Collins will go into his windup, and Ruffin hits that to short. Nice pickup by Freiberg, and that's over to first, 1 away. Here we go. Thank you, Clue, for your color in the chat. This is just me using up some spare time and keep practicing what I'm doing with the broadcasting. That brings up Bill Barrett. There's no pink gloves today. Controversial. And that one's down the middle. And so Collins lost his man, Bill Barrett, the right fielder. It also gives me a chance to get to learn a few more about these dead ball players, early 20th century players. A bit more comfortable after the 1960s. So here we go. Here at the plate is Russ Scarrett, batting from the left-hand side. 1 out, 1 man on, top of the 3rd inning. Phillies lead 1-0. Scarrett takes a few practice swings. Collins touches the tip over his cap, leans in. Davis puts the sign down. And Scarrett strikes out. Nice strikeout by Collins here. Looks like a decent player. Let's have a look at Phil Collins. Real life statistics. By 1935, he was out of the game. His record, real life pitching. His best season looks as if it was a losing season in 1931, where he went 12-16 with 4 saves and a 3.86 ERA. At the plate is Joe Rothrock. We've seen him do a great catch today. Here's the pitch, and the runner goes to second, and he's safe. Davis slowed getting out of his hand, and Barrett took the base. So Bill Barrett at second for the Red Sox. Here's Joe Rothrock, a guy I'm going to have to look up now. 2 men out, 2-1 the count, and Rothrock sends it to short. Easy pickup by Thompson, and that's the end of the inning. The Phillies remain in front 1-0. Bringing up Fresco Thompson. So you tell me about Fresco Thompson, Clue. I'll be more than happy with that. I've heard of him. So Fresco Thompson's real life stats, batting stats. 3.8. He had a good season in 1929. So Fresco Thompson comes up to the plate. Second baseman. Ruffin goes into his windup. And that's hit down to third base and easily picked up by Reeves across the first, 1 away. So Ruffin looking in here. Don Hurst. The score is 1-0. 1-0 the count. Ruffin pitches. And that's hit to center field. Rothrock has it. And he holds it in. And that's 2 away. Bringing up my man, Lefty O'Doul. easily one of my new heroes of baseball. Someone who I did not know about until recently. I heard his name before. Did a bit of research after playing on Beatles Eternally's channel and the emerging Howie Shanks Bingo League. Like any league, suffering some growing pains. We'll get over it. Here we go. And big clue, I'm the kind of guy that will just say, I'm quite happy to step back from the mic. Not because I don't enjoy it, but if it's too many people doing it and it needs to speed up, great. But I am an advocate of managing. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy it. It just lengthens the broadcasting, in my opinion. But if you have 3 hours to do it, then it's not a problem. How Beatles did it last year, I have to give him extra credit. Because when you're doing it, it's even more challenging, I think. But it's so much fun to manage, I have to say. But if there's a lag, it can be a pain in the rear. Here we go. Here's Lefty O'Doul. We all know my friend, and you know what I'm talking about. I was frustrated. Here's Lefty O'Doul. And O'Doul hits this a short, nice pickup there by Regan. And that's the end of the innings. The score is still 1-0 Phillies. And that brings up Phil Todd at the play for Boston. So these Boston Red Sox are completely unfamiliar to me. Philadelphia's Collins on the mound. 28-year-old Phil Collins. 1-0 to count. Collins into his motion. And that's hit to right field. This could go, and it's gone over the Lifebuoy sign. I'm loving this Baker Bowl. It's a home run park for sure. Home run by Phil Todd. He jogs around. And the score is tied. Boston 1. Philadelphia 1. Crowd don't like that one. That brings up Bill Regan. Nobody out. Score tied 1-1. Top of the 4th inning. First pitch from Collins. And that is hit to right field. And running over is Klein. And Klein will get it. And that's 1 away. 1 away. Brings up Charlie Berry, the catcher. Again, a complete unknown to me. Collins into his motion. And that's hit to short. Nice. No, a diving stop by Freiberg. But he could not stop it. He let the ball through his grip. It doesn't seem like it was an error. No, it wasn't an error. So Bernie Freiberg, at short, nice dive. Couldn't catch it, couldn't stop it. No, Dwight Gooden definitely not, I'm half tongue-in-cheek. I just love Dwight Gooden. He was the one that got me into baseball. I was just electrified by Dwight Gooden for the Mets back in the 80s. I was electrified by, the Detroit Tigers in 1984. The 1975 Reds might have been the first team I ever kind of consciously remember, the Big Red Machine. Didn't realize they were called a Big Red Machine much earlier than that, though. That's something I learned as time went on. I also didn't realize, until obviously years went by, they had a powerful team in the 1960s. But here's Bobby Reeves at the plate, 1 out, the third baseman. Reeves hits this to center field. Seymour will collect it, and that's 2 out. Bringing up Hal Ryan, the shortstop, 251 hitter. Operator and Doc, Dr. K, remember? That was it. So I think we're about the same age, both lived abroad, and I definitely learned so much by the same as you. USA Today, that was my thing. Does that still exist? So 2 men out, 1 man on first. Score tied 1-1. Here's Hal Ryan. And Collins gets a strikeout. That's his 4th strikeout. So we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Here's Chuck Klein, dangerous hitter. Batted .356 in 1929. Roughing into his windup. Klein hits this to short. And easily picked up by Ryan. And that's 1 away. Here comes Spud Davis, the catcher. Ruffin looks in. Berry sets the sign. 1-0 to count. Ruffin into his windup. And hit down to third. Easy to pick up for Reeves. And that is another out. 2 out. Bottom of the 4th inning. The home team trying to get back ahead again. Big Clue says he was my favorite player. Yeah, I'll pray. 1956 to 91. Wow, I did not know that. That it had the highest winning percentages. I did not know that. Yeah, he did. I just loved him. And I can remember the Reds. I remember vividly. I don't know why. I remember I said to you this before about the big letters on the back of the shirts. No beards. I remember Pete Rose's team. I remember Lou Pinella's team. Almost vividly. It's a long time ago when you think about it, Clue. It's like 30 years ago. Wow. Getting older, man. Eric Davis, I thought, had some talent. Was it Cal Daniels was another one, if I remember vaguely. Jose Rio, I do remember very much. The Nasty Boys, Norm Charlton, Rob Dibble. And was it Randall K. Myers as well? And I think Randy Myers was a New York Met before that, if I remember correctly. May have to put Dwight on here, you know. Give Dwight a little run out. Here we go. So Cy Williams at the plate, 2 out. Bottom of the 4th inning, full count. Seymour hits this to left field, but that's easily taken by Scarrett. So this is their score at the moment. 1-1 ball game, tie ball game, top of the 5th inning. Phil Collins going against Red Ruffin. Here's Red Ruffin at the plate, first pitch. Ruffin bunts it, a high bounce to first. Hurst has it over to the pitcher, and Ruffin is out. Took a high bounce, that one. I love the physics in this. Cover of Time magazine when he was such a young kid, I agree. Yeah, Pete Rose was in the league when I first started looking at it. Foster was still around. I can't remember Drisson, but I definitely remember George Foster with the Mets. In fact, that was the first season I watched. It must have been 1984 or 85. I think he left midway through 1985. I do remember... Let me see. Joe Morgan might have still been around or just retired. And Joe Morgan is, as a commentator, I remember. Here we go. Here's Collins against Barrett. 1 out. Barrett takes a few practice swings. Davis puts a sign down. On 1 the count. And that's hit to left field. And it's dropping in front of Klein. Base hit there for the leadoff man, Bill Barrett. That brings up the left-hand hitter, Scarrett. A good hitter, Russ Scarrett. Collins looks in. Davis puts the sign down. And that's hit to center field. Seymour measures it. And that is 2 away. That brings up the dangerous Jack Rothrock. Collins looks in. He's pitched well today. Rothrock with a bullet to center field. Nicely measured by Seymour. Yeah, Dave Kingman. I never saw him play. I think he was still around. Yeah, wasn't the Fire Joe Morgan thing? Wasn't that to do with? I do remember that. I do remember the website actually. I never looked at it much, but I do remember it. Was that because because I was in the UK? I didn't really know, but I'd imagine that's because he was so opinionated about analytics. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I think. Here's Phil Collins now. Red Ruffing back at the plate. On the mound. Here is Whitney. So let's see how Red Ruffing does. In 1929, he went 9-22. What did the Yankees see in him? Ruffing into his windup, and that's down the middle. Full count, and he walks Pinky Whitney. Boom, 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 boom. Or as they say in the Yankees, who's your daddy? I love that when Pedro was getting some stick. So here we go. Here's Freiberg, shortstop. A 301 hitter. Good contact. Good eye. Ruffin he's an extreme fly ball pitcher. Trying to hold it down. And that's hit to left field. Easy one for Scarrett. The runner will not tag, and that is 1 away. I'm going to hit a run here now. Collins is at the plate. Or run and hit. Hit and run or run and hit. So, Big Clue says, these Red Sox are anonymous. I totally agree. Harry Frazee really screwed over the franchise many times over. They had very little talent for most of the 1920s as a result. Yep, that's it. Yeah, fair enough. Definitely about Joe Morgan, and I'm learning about the Red Sox, because when did they become powerful? Again, because, again, my history is not as great as yours, clearly. So I'm learning all the time. That's why I like doing this. Obviously, I did a lot offline, but I think there's a room for it online as well, in the space that we have. I know I've been doing a lot of some of the broadcasting on the Howie Shanks Bingo League, as I like to call it. We'll step back from that a little bit just to see what happens next. I have my own opinion on what I should be, and I think you'll agree. We probably did start a little quick, but that was the question being asked. When do we start? I think Beatles will sort it out with yourself, Clue. I think Steve will as well, myself is involved, whoever. I do think it's a great idea, and it can be implemented probably a little bit better. Of course it can. But as you've said the other day, it's a draft league. That's the real thrill of it. And let's see how it all pans out so we go to season 2. That's how I see it. Here we go. Here's Phil Collins at the plate. He's going to bat, going to swing away, or we're going to bunt. 1 out. What do you do? Bunt with the leadoff hitter coming up. I'm going to bunt. There's the bunt put down by Collins. The runner advances. No, he's out. That did not work the way I wanted it to. I should have checked the speed. Still learning the game. Here we go, top of the 6th inning. Collins still on the mound. That brings up Phil Todd, one of these anonymous Boston Red Sox guys. Tom Yorkie bought the Sox, and he was a silver spoon baby. Yorkie started throwing money at star players to bring in guys. Okay. It didn't last, and they didn't win it all. But it did improve the club. I'll have to check that out. For example, Yorkie bought Lefty Grove, I do know him, and Jimmy Fox, I know him, from Connie Mack. That's what brought the A's down, right? Sox were good again by the mid-30s, and then obviously Teddy Ballgame comes in. Keeps them good. You had Pesky and... what's the guy that's played second? Bobby Doerr? He played, I remember him. I know of him. Here's Collins now on the mound. Here's Todd to face. Todd hits it to short. And that goes straight over to the first baseman, Hurst, and that is 1 away. I had to play Bill Regan here, batting 288. Not a man who gets on base quite well. No power. So Collins feels pretty confident. 1 out. Tie ball game. And that's hit to right field, and that bounces down for a base hit. Klein picks it up, throws it back to the infield, and there's a man on base. So... Boston trying to get it going. I wish they showed the speed on here. It never shows the speed. So Bill will have to go into the player to see it. Which is fine. It's a click, isn't it? And that is speed of 55. Okay, so there's a threat here. 1 hitter so far. I only just realized Philadelphia got 1 hit. I came to see Chuck Klein. I came to see Lefty O'Doul. I came to see Cy Williams. They got 1 hit against a very poor Red Roughing. Or was he poor? Okay, so the Sox were lucky that their cross-time rivals, the Boston Braves, were even worse. Now, the Boston Braves would have become the Milwaukee Braves, I'm sure. Is that right? Or did they become the Boston Bees? So the Boston Braves, the Boston Bees, the Boston Braves, then they became the Milwaukee Braves, the Atlanta Braves. That's how I see it. Thanks for being here, Big Clue, and helping me through this broadcast. It's interesting too. I recognize when you start out, you only have 1 or 2 to start with, and you crack on. Here's Collins with the pitch, and he strikes him out. So Collins has got his 5th strikeout today. He's not looking too bad. And here's Bobby Reeves, 2 men out. Collins into his windup, and that's down to third. Whitney has it across to Hurst. And that is the end of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. A runner left on base. The Red Sox and the Phillies still even 1-1. I just love this stadium. I wish I could rotate it. So here's Red Ruffin still on the mound. He's pitching a hell of a ball game. He's pitched 5 innings and given up just 1 hit. Given up 3 walks. And here is Thompson. Fresco Thompson, the leadoff man, at the plate. Fresco Thompson hits it to third. Nice play by Reeves. Nice adjustment of his feet there by Bobby Reeves. Bobby Reeves, nice adjustment there. And that's one away. Brings up the second man in the lineup, Don Hurst from the left-hand side. A 304 hitter and a 34. Here's a guy I did not know about, Don Hurst. Hit 31 home runs. What kind of career did he have? That was his second year, so this would be a good career, actually. 17, 24, and then he dies off. So what happened to Don Hurst? Hey, thanks, Big Clue. Really appreciate it. And you're definitely the good color man, that's for sure. So you give me that extra bit of information to go on. So Don Hurst there at the plate, a big hitter. That's not his real picture, I don't think, or is it? But he looks good. I mean, here's the question for you, Clue. What happened to Don Hurst? Look at this career, right? Real life stats. Good start, 1930. Look at his WAR. And his last big season was 1932. So then what happened? Here we go. Here's Red Ruffing on the man. He doesn't care. There he is with the pitch. And that's hit to short. And easily taken at short by Freiberg. Over to Hurst. And that's not over to Hurst. That was the wrong way around. By Ryan over to Todd. One away. Very hard to... with the players you don't really know. Here's Lefty O'Doul batting from the left-hand side. The slugger, famous for that Japanese baseball explosion. If that happened before 1930, what happened to Lefty O'Doul, who was revered in Japan after the World War II? Was he received well or not? Another question. So thank you for the people coming in and coming out. That's fine. Hope you can put up with my British accent. I'm a committed baseball fan, a sports fan. Here's O'Doul at the plate. And O'Doul swings. I came to see Lefty. Deep in the hole is Ryan, and he gets it over to first. So far, I'm not seeing much from Lefty O'Doul, Chuck Klein, or Cy Williams. Still on the mound is Collins. Collins has pitched well today. I mean, it's 1-1, tight ball game. Here's Ryan at the plate. Hal Ryan, the shortstop, batting .251. He's not that good a player, actually. Basement bargain player, I'd call him. He hits this to third to prove me wrong, and Whitney has it nicely across the diamond. And Hurst has it. One away. Brings up the pitcher, Red Ruffin. They're not going to hit for him. The AI is going to stick with him, and AI has become such a controversial subject in the world today. Because in a few years' time, the world will be run by AI. Imagine. We have apps. In the 1980s, if I stepped into now, like, would we have had it? You can't foresee some of this stuff. Imagine, you could sit at your home, say in about 10 years' time, if we're still on this earth, let's hope we are, you press a button and, Baker Bowl comes up in front of you like a hologram, and Lefty O'Doul and Cy Williams and Chuck Klein are in the outfield. I mean, look at this life, boys. I feel like I'm there. Sounds crazy, because I'm a sensible man, but imagine like a hologram. We will probably see this in our lifetime. So anyway, here goes the pitch. Collins having a good game. Ruffin's still in there. Here comes Collins. That's a line drive down the middle by Red Ruffin. He gets on base. So Red Ruffin on base. Will they pinch run for him? We don't know. So far, so good. They keep him in the ball game. Top of the seventh inning, tie ball game, 6-1 and 1 to score. It's 1-1. Here's Bill Barrett now coming in from the right side of the plate. Bill has got a patient eye, not the best hitter in the world. Colin looks in, studies the sign, shakes one off. Davis sends another sign down. Barrett waits. Collins goes into his windup, and that's hit to center field. Easy catch for Seymour, the veteran, and that's 2-0. So a bit of a mix-up there with Collins and Davis. Spud Davis. Let's have a look at Spud Davis. Let's learn about these players. Ooh, it doesn't get many strikeouts. Nice. Batting stats, real stats for him. Not the best. In fact, had a very short career. But Spud Davis, funny enough, it's funny how the subconscious works. I once wrote a novel. Yes, I did. Yes, I did write a novel. Not published. Not published. Like any writer, I just couldn't bother to finish it. It was a murder mystery. It was based around the Rolling Stones. So you have Brian Jones, Keith Richards, and Mick Jagger. And in that whole scenario, yeah, I know, artificial intelligence, you'd think that, artificial intelligence people would embrace it, but not so, I'm afraid. But yeah, I wrote this novel about Mick Jagger and Keith Richards and Brian Jones, the three frontmen of the Rolling Stones. And there was, you had Anita Pallenberg, who was the muse of Keith Richards, and also the Marianne Faithfull. So 2 women, 3 men. If you study the Rolling Stones, there's a big, love triangle with 5 people, I don't know. But they all liked each other, is the best way to put it. So I kind of based my novel on that. So I had this fictional rock band called The Void. Don't ask, long story for another day. Based in the glam rock era, so I kind of based it on that, like faction. But I had a little twist to it. There's a famous book I read by Agatha Christie. Oh God, what's that famous book called? The Death of Roger Ackroyd. And I won't give it away, but it's one of the best books I've ever read. Read it in my 20s, thought, this is awesome. So I took a bit of that. And then also, what's the rock band called? Chicago? And Chicago's lead guitarist, stroke songwriter, that died was Terry Kath. And Terry Kath, we know, blew his brains out, apparently, in an accident with playing Russian roulette. So I took the elements of that, the Agatha Christie story, which I won't give away the plot of that, because that's really interesting, and mixed it up with the Rolling Stones. And I wrote this novel, years ago. I still have it. I may still publish it. But the name of the manager of the rock band was Spud Davis. There you go. Now, where did I get that name from? I'd imagine I got it from probably baseball. And Spud Davis, in my story, was a real, shifty, probably a bit of a caricature of a manager in the day, like a Don Arden, a bit shifty. Okay, I shouldn't say that out loud, but that's what I'm saying. Here's Skerritt at the plate. Collins now waits for the story to end. He looks in, and that's hit to right field. Base hit. Klein and Seymour come after it. Seymour has it, and the runner stays at third. So stand-up double there for Russ Garrett. Still the score is 1-1. 2 out. Collins needs to get out of this inning, and the very dangerous Joe Rockrock comes to the plate. David sets the sign. Collins looks in. And he walks him. It's not the worst thing in the world. So Rothrock at first, Skerritt at second, Ruffin at third, who started this off. But there are 2 men out here, top of the 7th. Collins looking to get over a jam. Looking at Collins, he's only pitched 100 pitches, but he's got enough energy there, hasn't he? No need to take him out. So here we go. Todd at the plate. And Todd smacks it to center field. Base hit. 1 run comes home. 2nd run comes home. So Cy Seymour's throw bounces to the catcher to Davis. And that's 2 runs in for the Red Sox. Collins just gave up 2 hits there. He pitched well all game. It's the 8th hit of the ball game. Rothrock at second. Todd at first. He didn't advance much, did he? So here's Reagan now. Bill Reagan, the second baseman. Not much of a dangerous hitter. Collins wipes the sweat off his brow, leans in. Davis sets the target. And that's hit to left field. O'Doul doesn't get there. Another run comes home. Rothrock comes home with a dive. And that is 4-1. Reagan brings home Rothrock. 4-1 Red Sox. So it's all going wrong here for Collins with 2 out. Do I take him out? What's the point? But let's have a look at who's on the bench. What's the point? You're 4-1 down. You might as well take your licks. He's not tired. Have a look at the bench now for Philadelphia. Collins is definitely tired, according to this chart. There's no one there, really, is there? Lee Sweatland, no. Hal Elliott, I don't think I've got warm up on at the moment. In fact, I've got sub on, so I can't really do anything. Yeah, you see, Big Clue, that's exactly what I was saying. So thank you. Big Clue says here, a bit of research here, Clue, which I like. So Big Clue says, Hurst was a holdout in 1933. Spring training. He slumped that season, which makes sense. He slumped, you don't do spring training. See, Hurst was a holdout in 1933 spring training. The next summer, they traded him to the Cubs for Dolph Camilli. Bad trade for the Cubs. And Hurst was out of MLB a year later. I cannot find anything about an injury. Very odd for a guy with a 912 OPS throughout his age 26. Yeah, that's the beauty of these games, I think. And, it feeds our knowledge of baseball and our love of baseball, I guess. But awesome. I mean, here's a guy I've never heard of. Now I kind of know who he is. Don Hurst. And imagine, if we were to do a draft league, like the Denver Greavy, where we used Action PC's complete history rather than the history, it was the slice one, he should come up really well. I wonder if Steve knows about him or Beatles. Don Hurst. That's a good story. Good story. There's the kind of little gems you see in the game. I just read about, he's really well weighted in action. Jerry Pretty. And Jerry Pretty was one of the better second basemen of the 50s. And he came up with Phil Rizzuto. So I've learnt about that recently. But he was stuck behind Joe Gordon. I think Joe Gordon was at short, moved to second, and Pretty couldn't start with the Yankees. But Pretty still had a really good career. In fact, I've seen him in the Howie Shanks Bingo League, and he seems to do pretty well so far. Here's Collins, though, and here's Charlie Berry at the plate. And that's down to third, and Whitney has it over to Hurst, and that's the end. So maybe we will see Don Hurst. We've come here to see Chuck Klein, Cy Williams, and Lefty O'Doul. So far, O'Doul is not hit. Klein is not hit. We've seen Williams make a few plays in the outfield. Yeah, it is. Big Clue, I have to agree. Again, using what we talked about earlier about Dwight Gooden. Dwight Gooden was a fleeting greatness. He had really consistent seasons. It just wasn't phenomenal. Like his first two seasons. 84, 85. By 86, he was still very good. But not Hall of... Well, actually, if he'd have stayed at that level, 86 level, he would have got to the Hall of Fame. Easily. But by 94, he was finished. But yet still... And this is the thing about Dwight Gooden, which gets overlooked. Here's what I'm talking about impact. He still came back and had a no-hitter way past his peak. And, if I didn't realize it until fairly recently, has 3 World Series rings. Go figure that one. What a great story. Eric Davis is another one. What happened to Eric Davis? When I used to watch baseball back in the day, Eric Davis was going to be a superstar. So Big Clue says, thank you, Big Clue. So we were talking about Don Hurst, the first baseman in this game for the Philadelphia Phillies. What happened to Don Hurst? His high water mark was 1932 when he led the National League in RBIs with 143. What's the W mean, Clue? So he had 41 doubles, 24 home runs, and 339 average. As Clue says here, and rightfully so, this guy had an OPS through his age 26 season of 912. Yet he completely falls apart after that. And no record of what. Here he is, Don Hurst. So I'm learning about Don Hurst, and the scouting will tell you all about him. 24-year-old from the US, obviously. He does a great job, I shouldn't say obviously, it could be anywhere else. An ultra-aggressive approach to and this guy just disappears. So I've learned today. Here's Red Ruffin, who's holding his own. It's 4-1. Welcome to the channel if you're coming in. This is MV broadcasting from Cardiff, along with a good pal. He's supported myself and many others, Big Clue, in the collar box as well. So here we go. Here's the wind-up. And he strikes him out. So Chuck Klein, yet again, lets me down. But the ball got away from the catcher. So Klein is on first. Does Klein have any speed? Let's have a look at Chuck Klein, shall we? His career went on to 1944. We are in the 1929 season. This is only his second season. He had 43 home runs. Yet he cannot touch Red Ruffing today. Good stuff from Red Ruffing. We're going to go now with Spud Davis, the catcher. And that's hit to short. Easy pick for Ryan. Ryan over to first and second. Double over to second, over to first. Double play. So that brings up Cy Williams, who showed me something today. The veteran Cy Williams is 42 here, 41 years old. Red Ruffing, a 24-year-old upstart. It says 4 overall. So though his stats aren't great, Red Ruffing has a 4 overall, which is interesting. So why is the potential 0? Because I'm playing exhibition, probably. So bottom of the 7th inning, Red Sox lead. Here's Ruffing into his windup. Williams strikes out. So that's the end of the 7th inning. Nothing else for the Phillies. The score is still 4-1 Red Sox over Phillies. Look at that lovely soap. I could bath in that right now. Here we go. That red soap, Lifebuoy. Am I old enough to remember Lifebuoy? It's familiar. What is the story of Lifebuoy? Is it still around? The Phillies use Lifebuoy. NBO. I love it. Love it. I never saw that before. Here we go. Here we go. I think it's Sylvam. I have to give you credit, my friend. I've used your ballparks for years and on Steam recently, last couple of years. This is awesome. Absolutely awesome. I think Beatles Eternally has tried to do it fairly recently as well. So let's say what Big Clue. Big Clue, what say you? So, Big Clue's given me history here in the chat, which I like. Connie Mack managed the A's, yep. Brett Shutton managed those Philly years. But did Connie Mack take over in 1929? That's what I'm thinking. No, he didn't, because he was with the A's. You're absolutely right. Great team. Shutton was more famous as Brooklyn's manager in the late 40s. In 1999, my ancestors were damn well missing Calvin Coolidge in the White House. Fair enough. So here we go. Phil Collins. Here we go. Here's the pitch. And Reeves to right field. And that's an out. Klein has a beat on it, and that's one away. That brings up Hal Ryan, the shortstop. Phil Collins leans in, still on the mound. One out. Ryan to short. Freiberg over to first. Hurst reaches up, gets it. That's 2 away. So we've learned a lot about Don Hurst today. Collins and Ruffin still coming up to the plate here is Ruffin. Ruffin is actually quite a good hitter. There's something I didn't know until I just realized he had a hit in the last inning. And he's batted .307 from 114 at-bats. So he's got a 65 contact. Here we go. Collins into his windup. And that's hit to center field, base hit for Red Ruffing. Now I'm beginning to see why Red Ruffin had some value. You live and you learn. You learn something new every day. So Red Ruffing on first has a lead off. Won't get much of a jump. Hurst holding him at first. Davis puts a sign down. Collins into his motion. And that's hit straight to second base. Picked up by Thompson over to Hurst. And nothing there. That retires the side. Nothing on one hit for the Red Sox. The Red Sox maintain their 4-1 lead. So here comes Red Ruffing out for the bottom of the 8th inning. Pinky Whitney at the plate. So what I'm going to do is take this off game options, let the computer AI take over for speed. So here's Pinky Whitney at the plate. Ruffing into his windup. And that's hit to left field. base hit. There's a double there at least. Picked up by Skerritt, who throws it to the cutoff man, bounces into third. I love the graphics on here. So a triple for Pinky Whitney, and that's threatening some runs here for the Phillies, who need something. They were last in the league in 1929, I believe. Ruffin looks in now. Here's Bernie Freiberg. And there's a walk, so maybe Ruffin losing his stuff. Runners at the corner. Boston lead 4-1. Bottom of the 8th inning. The Phillies mounting a rally. And here's Trip Sigman. Pitch hitter. He's likely to get back on ball. Only in real life had an OPS of 1 point. Wow. His first season, it's only a couple of games. Second season, 0.3. Okay, so not much major here. Never looked like he did much in real life. Came up for a short amount of time. But here's Trip Sigman. Can he bring the man home? Ruffin into his windup. Struck out. So Sigman goes down. That brings up Fresco Thompson. So, Clue, here's one for you and myself. Who the hell is Fresco Thompson? Yeah, big Clue. That was... I had to do it. Especially after Steve's game. Just to illustrate, it wasn't Steve. It wasn't Steve at all. It is frustrating with the glove. I get it. But it can work. It's just that the broadcast has to be longer, that's all. I get that part. The managing part is no doubt very exciting. But, you know, I'm happy either way. I don't mind that at all. But what is difficult is the complaining in the chat. That's hard. That's just hard to watch and hard to... You know, it's just not good. Not good. I think that's the tough part. There's other ways to get it across. But I did enjoy the game with... the good game was the one earlier with myself and Robbie. We had a real great game, I have to admit. And that took a while. The game was solid. Ended controversially, which added to the spice of the game. It might have been one of my most enjoyable games that I've ever had on action. Not because I won it, because we did. It's more to do with the drama. It was funny. At one point, Robbie was up 2 runs in the 9th, and I had my guys coming up at the bottom of the 9th. And I did some pinch hitting, if you watch it back, that really paid off. I mean, I really had to manage. And that's where the managing bit does come into play, the interactiveness. So it's a difficult balance. I saw PQ say maybe we should have a chat window open on Discord, if that's possible. But you still have the lag, wouldn't you? I suspect, even you now, you're a couple of seconds, only a few, behind me. You know, and I don't know, you know, that's just only a couple of seconds, I can tell by your writing. And I timed it with Worlds yesterday. We timed it, and it was like 20 seconds at one point. So I don't know if he wasn't, not Worlds himself, but it was just a case of, is he going to make a decision or not? And it slows everything down. And then you have to make a decision. Do you hit for him? And maybe it's just his management style, which I got used to. Worlds just wanted me to pitch around players who had over 30 home runs. And that made sense because it was quick. I didn't have to ask him. It was fine. And maybe there's a way for... Because I knew his style, it helped a bit. But as the game got longer, in the 7th inning onwards, it was just like, oh my God. This is just tough. So then you start to lose some of your own enthusiasm, which you kept up, but it's hard. Especially when someone's moaning about the AI. I don't think it was moaning about me, it was just moaning about the AI. And yet he still won the game, so it was all good. But, you know, sad that he came up with his own conclusion there. Anyway, back to Fresco Thompson. There's a guy I would like to learn about. Yeah, I think so, because I guess so, because the whole point of the broadcasting is to entertain all. And, you know, if you think about it, if you're Harry Carey, you have to entertain. That's the whole nature of the whole broadcast. It's to show off the league. The management AI is there for a reason. You know, we put it in. But at the end of the day, that's what made the McGreevy so popular, Beatles' style of broadcasting is what makes it so popular. Maybe my style or Steve's style doesn't suit. I don't think that's the issue. But Beatles does have a particular style, I told him, that is quite good, in my personal opinion. I think it's really, really good. I'm learning, that's why I'm doing all this stuff publicly. I don't mind. It's fun, I'm not losing any sleep anymore, because I'm in the daytime in the UK, so it's all good. Here's Fresco Thompson at the plate. And there's a nice base hit to right field. Waved away, nice wave away. But here comes a run. So nicely caught out there by Barrett. But a run will come home and Pinky Whitney scores. 4-2. That brings up the aforementioned Don Hurst. I don't think that's his real picture. I could be wrong. I might have to Google Don Hurst. Because I downloaded the face pack from Steam. But there are some players missing. I'm not sure why. Whereas last year, I think I had everybody. But then again, I might have downloaded the face pack from the actual Out of the Park site. Yeah, and that's the issue. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Beatles has a wonderful style. Beatles broadcast last year went on for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. So it might suit Beatles more than it would suit me and Steve. And that might be the issue. Right there. It's not so much the managing part of it, which is a challenge. But Beatles was a bit more patient. And I know I'm patient and Steve's patient. It can slow the whole thing down. And I think the Beatles thing, for me personally, it works for me because in the UK, I was stressed out at my my job, and couldn't sleep, and obviously came across Beatles, and for some reason it just seemed to relax me and chill me out. So although I ended up going to bed at like 3 o'clock in the morning UK time, I still get up for work at 8 and go, I work from home, so it was all good. Have some coffee, and all was well. Whereas I'm finding now I'm broadcasting in the day, yesterday and today, I'm enjoying it too. But it'll probably work better for you guys at your end. You're not losing any sleep. Which is quite funny as well, because it's the other way around. Here we go, roughing here. Bottom of the 8th inning. 2 out. Don Hurst at the plate. And Hurst walks. So now it brings up Lefty O'Doul. The score is 4-2. Can Lefty do something? He is 0 for 3 today. Red Ruffing has owned him. They're leaving Ruffing in. 3-1 the count. And Ruffing issues his 6th walk, so O'Doul gets on base, finally. I think he got on base before, was it Klein? So the bases are loaded here for the Philadelphia Phillies, and Red Ruffing is still staying in the ballgame. So here's Chuck Klein. We've come to see Chuck Klein. We've come to see Lefty O'Doul, and instead we found Don Hurst and Red Ruffing. Red Ruffing, a Boston Red Sox. I did not know that. Before he became a New York Yankee. Here we go. Here comes the pitch. And he lost him. Chuck Klein walks the first. A run will score. And now the bases are still loaded. Hurst at third. O'Doul at second. Klein at first. Spud Davis at the mound and not at the plate. Comes in, a righty. A good contact hitter, batted .342. The more I look at these Phillies, the more I recognize them as the Colorado Rockies of the 1929 season, because it looks as if they had some good hitters. I mean, that's not bad. .342 with a .388 on base percentage. Yeah, and Big Clue, I think we're all mature enough. Those of us who are mature can see exactly what you said. Absolutely, it's not. There's no entitlement. That's it's expectancy. It's fun. It's fun, and Beatles did have fun. I definitely make it fun. I know I do. I try my best. I try and read some of my boring old crap, like writing my novel, or picking up something in the chat. I love your sarcasm. I absolutely think it's amazing. Especially in the Discord or in the chat. It's so funny. Steve's mad professor element and his sarcasm is awesome. Beatles kind of, I don't know, is it sort of In fact, I'll tell you what it is. In the UK, we had a very famous children's program called The Magic Roundabout. And Beatles probably knows it as well. That's why I'm saying it out loud. Beatles is a very intelligent, funny, musical, sometimes whimsical guy, in my opinion. And there's two characters in The Magic Roundabout. Have you seen it, Big Clue, by the way? You might have seen it. One's called Dylan and one's called Brian. I'll let you work out which one Beatles, why I picked up those two characters. Because he reminds me of both those characters. There's another one called Zebedee, but that's another story for another day. Oh, well, I don't know about that. I try my best. You know what it's like. When you're younger, you play these games and you hear these voices in your head. Not the wrong way of putting it. You hear the commentators' voices in your head and you think, oh, one day I'll do that. But you never thought you'd actually end up on screen doing it publicly for the world to see. You know, people in my life just know me. They know this is what I do anyway. I've had a Commodore 64, or bought my first one, in 1985, Big Clue. My dad sent me back to the UK. He said, right, son, here's £200. Buy your college books with this. I said, yeah, Dad, no problem. And the first walk down the high street, there was a shop called Rumbelows. It's dormant now, this chain of shops. I saw a Commodore 64. I felt my dad's £200 in my pocket, or the bank. Ran to the bank, got the 200 out, and bought my first computer, £199. So I had 1 pence left, and no books. That was the start of a slippery slope. Here we go. This is Spud Davis now. The base is loaded, 2 men out. This is a cliffhanger if anyone's watching. Besides Big Clue, you come in to watch it. Here we go. And that's hit to right field. And a nice catch out there in right field by Barrett. Bill Barrett there in right field. So here we go now. Top of the 9th inning. On the mound is Bob McGraw taking over now the pitching duties. He is the closer for the Phillies, but they are trailing. At the plate, Russ Skerritt, a good contact hitter. McGraw into his windup. Barrett hits this to left field. Easy catch for Lefty. So that's one away. Love the animations. They really have stepped up their game. And I'm a big OOTP out of the park fan. I was just leaning towards action, and then this came out. So let's look at the changes in the field. They brought in a defensive shortstop, Tommy Feathernow. Is he any more better than the one before? Possibly. Here's McGraw. Bob McGraw looks in. Rothrock waits. A dangerous Joe Rothrock. Here's a player for you, Clue. Rothrock hits this to right field, base hit. Klein picks it up on the bounce. And Joe Rothrock is back at first. So Rothrock at first. One thing it doesn't show as easily is the actual, like, I'm holding a Rothrock. I want to see what he's done today. It doesn't show that as easily as, say, action. But that's a miniature thing. I can go to box score or game log probably to pick it up. Anyway, here's Phil Todd, another cleanup hitter. Why, I do not know. He's a pull hitter. McGraw into his windup. And a throw down to second. They easily get Rothrock picked off at second. Nice throw by Spud Davis down to second. The veterans, McGraw, they're combining with Davis, the young guy, to get it. Spud Davis, have a look at Spud. Only had a couple of years. I already like the guy. I quite like him. He only played 2 seasons, 3 seasons. And his last season. So here's another one, Clue. It's just always interesting. It's only, if I'm reading this right on screen. Spud Davis played 2 games in 1928. Then it says high 192, Philadelphia Phillies. Oh, he was with the St. Louis team, right? Okay. Then probably switched over. Was traded. In his first season, he hit 2.82 with a 3.41 ERA. Sorry, 341 on base percentage. So that's his total line for 1928. 280, 341. Okay, get that. In 1929, the season we're in, he hits the same. It's 342, 388 on base, 2.4 WAR, WAR. Yeah, where did this guy disappear to? Hey, Ken Castro. Hey, welcome, Ken. How are you? Hope you're well. Hope you're well. You are the true runners, Big Clue. There's no question about that. You are the true. There's other two things I can think of. Welcome, Ken Castro. Hope you're feeling better. A lot of greetings went out to you from Beatles. I think, Ken, we need you, and I think Beatles specifically. He said it on the chat the other day. He is missing your wisdom and your calm reassurance. And he said that in a very... You know the hound dog? The hound dog? The actual dog with the long ears? I think that's what it's called. What's it called? A hound dog? Am I saying it right? Anyway, that's how I could mentally visualize Beatles when he's talking about you, Ken. He sounded so sad. But it's good to see you here as well. Big Clue as well. And we were just finishing up a game here. Clue has kept me company as we just finish a out-of-the-park baseball game. So I'll just finish it up. So here we go. So here's Phil Todd, at the plate, coming in for the left-hand side. 2 out, top of the 9th inning. McGraw looks like a veteran, and that's hit out to left. Lefty comes in. Look at the smooth animation. It's just superb. And the shadows now are coming into the game. Red Ruffin now going for the finish, going for the complete game. He's had an excellent game, only giving up 2 hits the entire game. Here's Cy Williams, and this at the Baker Bowl. 1-2 to count. And that's hit straight to short. And nice pickup there from Ryan. And Ryan gets it over to Todd. 1 away. Basset Hound, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it just sounded so sad. So you're so used to hearing Beatles sound so good. You've missed a lot, Ken, but I'm sure you'll catch up in the Discord. Do with your calming influence. Here we go. Here's Red Ruffing and Whitney. So Ruffing into his windup, and that's hit to left field. This could be a base hit double. So Pinky Whitney. Oh no! What a throw by Garrett. I've got to show that one again. That was awesome. I did not think that had a chance. I thought it was... How do you see replay? Where's Beatles when I need him? Oh my God, here it is. No. That was a throw and a half. Oh my gosh. It caught me by surprise. I've got to see it again. Anyone know where it is? Replay. I know it's here. It's been a long time since I played the game. I'm just trying to find out where it was. Replay. Here we go. F10, right. Here's the replay. Nice hit to left by Pinky. But look at the laser. My gosh. From Scarrett. So now I've got to look at Scarrett. This is Russ Scarrett, another guy I'm finding out about. Outfield range 60. His arm is 50. But look at the rocket he threw. Another guy, Big Clue, that didn't seem to have a long career. What's happening with these guys? I mean, Big Clue, here's another one. Here's another one for you. It is crisp. It is crisp. It's so crisp, Ken. It really is. If you look at Russ Scarrett here, he is... Clue, here's another one, Big Clue. What we've seen here today, Ken, you would know much more than, I would, or I don't know about Clue, but finding some players here. It's 1929, 2 teams from 1929. I came to see Lefty O'Doul and Chuck Klein in an exhibition series, against a similar rated team from the same year. So we found a guy called Don Hurst, who looked really good for a couple of seasons. And here he is, Don Hurst, Ken. No, not him. So Clue has been able to talk me through some of the history behind him. I think we didn't even know this guy. This guy looks so good, Don Hurst. So Clue, you could weigh in if you want to. And same with Ken Castro. So here we go, Red Ruffin on the mound. Walt Larian is now pinch hitting. Red Ruffin with a pitch, and straight up the middle by Walt Larian. So they refuse to die, the Phillies. They trail 4-3. It's only their fourth hit of the day. Ruffin is being kept out there by the manager, and Howie Peel, another pinch hitter, comes in. Tie and run on first. Go ahead, run at the plate. Ball game coming to a nice boil. Ruffin into the windup, and that's center field. Rothrock will come in, and that's the ball game. So the Red Sox sneak past the Phillies 4-3. Game one here. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting an avalanche of runs coming for the 1929 Phillies. You know, where's my Chuck Klein? Where's my, where are those guys? They didn't show up. Chuck Klein went 0 for 3. This is what I come to see. What's the point of paying a ticket? I'm not seeing him, but having said all of that, you come in this baseball TARDIS, like Doctor Who, to come and see these guys in 1929, this lovely ballpark with the Lifebuoy sign. Now I know what the Baker Bowl looks like, because I've never really looked at it before. I'm sure Beatles has done it. I've never paid attention to that Lifebuoy sign, which says, "Get rid of B.O.," which I thought was incredibly funny. You know, it's... Yeah, Ken, wish you speedy recovery, patient, speedy recovery. And that's, you know, and you get back to writing again in your family. And, you know, hope all is well going forward. You all feel all you've been rooted for when you're absent, that's for sure. And like I said, you got the Basset Hound voice of Beatles, which did make me chuckle, because I see a cynical side of myself coming out, probably influenced by Steve and Big Clue. I can be cynical sometimes. But here we go. So looking at that lineup, Don Hurst is the one, Ken, that we were curious about, because that stat looks pretty good, and his statistics look really good. So that's that one. I love the box score. So Big Clue, it does look good. I don't know if you own this particular one, but it's really, really good. Jack Rothrock is another guy that I found out a little bit more about today. And what I like about this is, I think Beatles did this the other day, create a baseball card. I know you can do it, I've done it before, but, oh, here we are. Click on new to create one. Press new, enter a title, I don't know. Test. Template. Ooh, I like this. And that's him in a very generic uniform. Although it's the real uniform for Boston. I shouldn't say generic. It doesn't have the logo on his cap, though. That's Jack Rothrock. I just did that just for the sake of it. But we can go to... What I'm going to do, it's still early over here, but I imagine others in the Discord might be wanting to do something, so I am more than happy to stop. They've tightened the graphics. Let's have a look at another one. What I'll do is I'll finish today. Just to I know Beatles has done this as well. I saw our Red Sox fan did it the other day. If I go back up here and look at some of the screens, they've just sharpened up the graphic ever so slightly. The white background is me choosing a skin that was on Discord, because it's normally black. But I like the white, bright background. You can do different skins. I prefer the white one. Meet the Team has always been there for donkey's years. The organization, which I love, because I've imported all the minor leagues. If you go by potential, this is the strength of Out of the Park, I think. The minor leagues. I did a Negro League one yesterday. It's awesome. Here's Ken Williams, who was on the 1929 Sox. We didn't see him, right, because he was 39 years old. He's probably older there. But he's still good. He's a guy that we've seen in Beatles iterations of different things. Ed Morris. So if I go down to the AAA, how do I find that again? That's the active roster. There was no minor league then, I guess. Big clue, if you could tell me what that was, I don't know. But if I go into the reserve roster, you can see a couple of players here. Yeah, these are all real players. So I really like this. I really like this. Phillies, looking at their organization. So I guess the minor leagues came in. I know Branch Rickey was a big man with it, but wasn't the minor leagues around in the 1920s? I'm sure they were. Oh, I know why. Because I got it on exhibition. That's why. So thank you, Ken. You're welcome, Ken. You're very much welcome. Yeah, I was talking about writing recently. I mean, I write as well, but nowhere near your prolific self. I was talking about a book I put together, a novel. I wrote it in my late 20s and combines the stories of, it's fictional, but based on some real life, based on the love. There's a word for it when quite a few people like each other at the same time or have romantic liaisons with each other. That's Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Brian Jones, Marion Faithfull, and Anita Pallenberg, and the complete mix-up of emotions between the five. That's part of the story. The other part is the Terry Kath element with the Russian roulette. So that's involved in the story. And the other one was The Death of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie, of course. So it's a murder mystery novel that I wrote, and my girlfriend, or ex-girlfriend, who I still talk to her all the time, said, why don't you publish this thing? Never did, Ken. Maybe I should just do it on, what's that site called? WordPress, maybe? And just put it there. Right. Yep, Ken, that's no worries at all. That's absolutely fine, but take care of yourself. Like I said, I'm sure Beatles, Beatles would be happy to see you back soon and well. And I think that comes from all of us that have got to know you. Certainly in my case, I'm sure Big Clues over the last, few months in particular, probably a year now for myself. Wish you all the best, Ken, and thank you for dropping in. Really, thank you so much. Yeah. So Big Clue just said here, so self-published. Yeah, I guess so. Well, my dad wrote a book as well, funny enough, and we self-published it on Amazon too, and we edited it and did everything else, but it was a disaster. It was actually quite funny. I was talking about Lifebuoy. We were talking about Lifebuoy, the soap, and he actually was talking about pharmaceutical products and marketing and all that kind of jazz. So I learned a bit about, those companies, how they started, and it was good. I liked it, but I'm biased. So, looking forward to your stuff. Thank you, Ken Castro. Take care. So, Big Clue says here, they were independent, right? Gotcha. I think this game does capture that as well. I'm pretty confident it does. But this is the exhibition version of it, so that's why. I only put one league together for these two. So what we'll do, just to finish this little project here, is just simulate this Big Clue. Just do it in one go. Oh, cancel game. Go to scores. There it is. Next one is Ed Morris and Lou Cuppo, quick play. And the Red Sox win a second game, 4-1. Player of the game was Morris. Which Morris is that? Ed Morris. God, he looks a bit rough, doesn't he? Good Lord. Jeez. Finish today. Go back to the scores. 2-0 Baltimore. So here, I'll finish today. So you said here, for example, the Baltimore Orioles were a powerhouse dynasty in the 1920s. Their ace was Lefty Grove. Okay. So tell me this. We both read the same book, but I'm sure I remember about a guy called Billy Southworth. I'll have to read the book again. It's been a long time. I only dug out my book recently. So Ed Morris is good, right? Okay. He looks a bit monstrous, doesn't he? Here we are. So here we go now. Philadelphia. So should we look at I want to have a look at this. Let's have a look at this game. Only just to see how they look, how the Boston field, what's it called? Fenway looks. So here we go, looking at the lineup for this game. I'll sim this one real quick. So this is, oh, right, okay. So is this Boston's Fenway Park? I can recognize certain dimensions of it. The left field wall. What, to the real Hall of Fame? Is that, okay, I'll look that up. But I heard Billy Starr, I mean, some of the managers I read in that book were amazing. But I picked up the book the other day, the Bill James Guide to Managers book. I think you recommended another one to me as well, which I need to pick up. That was interesting because it talked about like a family tree, like which tree people come from, management tree. And it goes back to, some of them guys goes back to a guy called Hanlon. Is it Ned Hanlon? So I need to read up a bit more about that. But looking at, let's have a quick inning. Leading off for this, I'll just do one inning and sim it to the end. I just wanted to see what this park looked like. That's better. There's so many cameras here. This is Fenway Park. Nice scan, nice. I do like that beginning. I really do. He struck him out. And on the mound is Milt Gaston. I'll just do this inning. Don Hurst hits this to right field, and an easy take there for Bill Barrett. So that's, okay, this is cool. So what I'll do, Clue, in a minute, as I can see you now watching that pan, I'll play out the inning. And that's hit to left field to the Lifebuoy sign, this time by Lefty O'Doul, who finally shows up for me with a hit. Here's Chuck Klein coming in from left. The pitcher is Milt Gaston. And that's hit to short. Taken easily there by Ryan. Over to first. And Todd has it. So here's Benj, Ray Benj. Not that good. At the plate, Bill Barrett. So this is at Fenway. So I'll do this last inning. I'm just interested in the field. There's Texaco. Is that Pan Am with a seaplane? Wow. 7-Up was around in those days. Wow. I didn't know that. Budweiser makes sense. Lifebuoy. U.S. Steel. Gem Razor, is that? Wow, nice, nice. So what we'll do is I'll go straight to the 9th inning and close it out. It's tight this time, and I'll end it. So that looked really good, Clue. And that is that. Just finished the series. I've enjoyed it. The score is 1-2 so far. Quick play. So, Philadelphia win to pull it even. The series is tied at 2. So go to game 5. Series tied at 2. Phil Collins gets red roughing again. And the Red Sox drop pivotal game 5, now trail 3-2. Come down to the final game. Phillies have come right back into this series. Can they win it? And the Philadelphia Phillies defeat the Boston Red Sox in an exhibition, 7-game exhibition series, 3-0. Now, I should be able to see all the stats. Statistics. Oh, my God. Combined. So, the series, Chuck Klein didn't do it for me, though, did you, Chuck? This is not showing the stat. Oh, okay, it's just showing their real stats. Shame. Because of the way I set it up, I guess that's why. Well, the Philadelphia Phillies, you did one good thing, is that you definitely performed. But what I have found, just looking at this now, is in 1929, Lefty O'Doul does have an 8.9 WAR. Just looking at this, yep, that's correct. This is the real stats. If I go back to statistics, and finally, Carl Schwarber. You don't like the Phillies. Poor Robbie. Poor Robbie. To be fair to Robbie, he was really supportive last night. He really was. Though he's had his own views, which are what they are, he certainly was understanding yesterday, which was nice to see. He gave me a little message, which was quite nice. But yeah, so, and he's all about those BBW, isn't he? If he only knew what BBW actually stood for, which I've just found out yesterday. I typed in, right, in Google, please kids, if you do listen, I hope it's not made for kids anyway. I typed in BBW tutorial in the Google clue. And what I noticed, what came up was, oh my God, it was all to do with, what do the women call it when they trim their vag? Oh my God, that's what came up, BBW, what do you call it, trimming, what's it called? They call it something, not trimming. Skimming, trimming, you know what I'm talking about anyway. And it was a case of, oh my God, do I really want to see that? I want a BBW tutorial. Not a woman going for a vajazzle, or whatever it is they call it these days. Anyway, it was hilarious when I saw it for the first time. I was like, oh my God. Anyway, so, big clue. Our marathon is over. Thank you so much once again. I'll probably keep this going on a Saturday morning, afternoon. It was nice to do it. It's summer now, so I can go out a bit more, come back in, do my stuff, and then go back out again. But really enjoyed it. Thanks for your support, as always. Much appreciated. Yeah, BBW tutorial. Not good. Don't Google it, folks. Type in APPA, baseball for Windows. That will get you a better result. Anyway, Clue, pleasure as always. Thank you for stopping by. Thanks for all the others who stopped by. I didn't see your names, but I did see people coming into the chat and disappearing, coming back. But to see Ken here as well, both of you here, was really, really good. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, Big Clue, much appreciated. And I'll see you soon. I don't know if Steve's broadcast. He said he might. But after last night, I think he'll be looking for a 6... I think he'll probably pause it, to be fair. Wait for Beatles. And then clear up anything else that needs to be cleared up. I'll be on the Discord at some point. I'm always in the Discord. So, yeah. Earlier. Do you know what? I got the Negro League file the other day. And I have to say, I really enjoy listening to him on the broadcasts. He's pretty good. I've gotten used to him on BBW. And I do enjoy the game in a completely different way than I do to Action and Out of the Park. I have Baseball Mogul, which, can I quickly show you, Ken? Just very quickly. Not Ken, Big Clue. I know you know it, but there are some pluses. It's the same game as far as I'm concerned from many, many years ago. I don't mind it. It's just not the level of these. I would, without being too patronizing to the makers of the game, I call it an entry game, if that makes sense. I'll just click it up on screen. This was my entry game, actually. I'm sure I played this around the very same time I played my first Out of the Park. So it's been around at least 20 years. So I definitely enjoyed it. At the time, I still enjoy it. Someone's just joined the chat again, just as I was about to close down. But I just want to show this exhibition. Beatles did this the other day, and I already have it set up my wonderful Mets, as you can tell. I tried to do a broadcast the other day with it not broadcast, offline. But let's do the Reds just very quickly. Cincinnati Reds we were just talking about. Let's do the big red. No, that's too easy. Let's do the 1990 Reds. Okay, and let's do the 1990. Doesn't show the record, But I know the White Sox were good around that time. Okay. And I'll do that. And play now. What I don't like, you could edit. I'll leave that as that. And I'll just quickly have a go at see if I can commentate with this game. On the mound today is Greg Hibbert, the lefty, for the White Sox, the 1990 White Sox. We're at Comiskey Park. And let's go through who's in the field. Behind the plate is Carlton Fisk. First base is, which Martinez is this? Carlos Martinez. Second base is Scott Fletcher. It's a fun sim, definitely a fun sim. I just don't know all the players. Ozzie Guillen at short, Calderon in left, I think it's Ivan Calderon. Sammy swinging, slinging, Sammy Sosa in right field. And center field is it Johnson? Lance Johnson, I remember him. Leading off for the Cincinnati Reds is Billy Hatcher. Here's the 1-1. Hatcher sends it down the line, down to third base, and Robin Ventura cannot pick it up. And a base hit for Billy Hatcher. So Hatcher straight away is okay, so I can pitch, but I can also set the defense. This is where I need the manager to step in. I'm not very good. So I'll just do a quick one. Here's Hibbert into the windup. Gets it across the plate. And Barry Larkin will... Hatcher still second, so the Reds off to a good start. Billy Hatcher on second base. 1-0 the count. Hibbert looks over at Hatcher. Goes into his windup. And that's smashed by Larkin only to the shortstop, Guillen. And there's one away. Hatcher will stay at second. That brings up the third hitter in the Cincinnati lineup, Mariano Duncan. And that's hit up to the pitcher, and that's grounded out. So we're just going to do this last inning here. I'll bring it up. Eric Davis. Eric Davis, one of the premier hitters of the Reds. Hibbert into his windup. Straight up the middle, base hit. Hatcher should come home, and does. The center fielder picks it up. That is Lance Johnson. So 1-0 Reds. That brings up Chris Sabo, the man of the spectacles. 2-2 to count to him. And Sabo catches this one, goes into left field, and taken by Calderon. Actually, I'm enjoying it already. Right, so I will stop it there. So thank you, Big Clue. I'm probably going to play this out. I don't want to bore you any further with this, but I'm actually going to play this one out. I actually enjoy it. So I'll just give this one a go. Here's Tom Browning. Down the third baseline. Nicely picked up at third by Robin Ventura. Actually gets past him, actually. And Johnson is at first. So a man who threatened to steal. I'll just keep this going, actually. Quite enjoying this. Browning 2-2. And that was a ball move, but that will drop down into center field. Base hit. Base hit. So that brings up Ivan Calderon. Eric Davis picked up that ball then. Browning looks around. Runners at the corner. Nobody out. White Sox threatening. They trail 1-0. Calderon has decent power. 1-1 to count from Browning. That one's hits over shortstop into left field. 1 run will score. So that one hit straight over Larkin's head. And that is another run for the White Sox. I've tied it up already. Tom Browning into his one at 2-1 to count. That's slapped by Carlton Fisk. And nice stop at shortstop, and they create a double play. So a double play there. Larkin to Duncan over to first to Todd Benzinger. And this is definitely the last inning. Here's Sammy Sosa. 1-2 to Sosa. Sosa hits it down the line. and nicely taken at third by Chris Sabo. So that's it. Big Clue. Thank you for today. Really appreciate it. And I will see you either later on today, if you're around, or over tomorrow. Take care, Big Clue. Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining.